The Rescue and the Bond. The darkness between stars. Captain Maya Chen pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of her exploration vessel, the Horizon Walker, as another violent shudder ran through the ship's hull. The emergency lighting cast eerie red shadows across the bridge, and the constant beeping of failing systems created a symphony of approaching doom. She was 3 months into what should have been a routine deep space survey mission, mapping uncharted regions beyond the Orion Arm for potential human colonies. Maya had always been drawn to the unknown spaces between stars. As a child growing up in the rebuilt cities of Mars, she would spend hours staring at the night sky, wondering what mysteries lay hidden in the darkness. Now, at 35, she was one of humanity's most experienced deep space explorers, with 12 successful missions under her belt. But this mission was different. This time, she might not make it home. The Cascade failure had begun 3 days ago when a micrometeor, no larger than a grain of sand, had punctured the ship's primary power coupling at precisely the wrong angle. The resulting energy surge had fried most of the backup systems, leaving Maya stranded with failing life support and no way to contact the nearest human outpost, still weeks away even at full speed. Maya moved to her captain's chair and ran through the diagnostics one more time, hoping against hope that she had missed something. The results were the same. Oxygen would last maybe 18 hours. The emergency beacon was broadcasting, but in this remote region of space, the chances of another human ship detecting it were virtually zero. She had made peace with her fate, spending her final hours recording messages for her family and updating her research logs. The survey data she had collected could help future human expeditions, assuming anyone ever found her ship. Maya had always known that exploration carried risks, and she accepted them willingly. The expansion of human knowledge and the search for new worlds were worth the danger. An unexpected salvation. On what Maya calculated to be her final day, something impossible appeared on her sensors. A ship was approaching, but its design was unlike anything in human records. The vessel was elegant and streamlined, with a hull that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. It moved with a grace that suggested technology far beyond human capability. Maya's heart raced as she realized what she was seeing. First contact. She was about to become the first human to encounter an alien species, and she was going to die before she could share the moment with humanity. The irony was almost too much to bear. The alien ship approached slowly, clearly having detected her distress. Maya activated her emergency transmitter and began broadcasting basic mathematical sequences, hoping to establish peaceful communication. To her amazement, the response came immediately, not through her radio systems, but directly into her mind. The sensation was gentle and warm, like hearing a favorite song from childhood. "Human vessel, we are the Ashkari. We have observed your distress. Though our laws typically forbid contact with developing species, we cannot watch a sentient being perish when we have the power to prevent it." Maya found herself crying as she felt the genuine compassion in the alien communication. "I am Captain Maya Chen of Earth. I thank you for your kindness. I understand if your laws prevent you from helping, but I want you to know that your offer means everything to me." The response came filled with warmth and determination. "Some laws are meant to be broken when compassion demands it. We are bringing you aboard." The Ashkari. Maya watched in wonder as the alien ship somehow created a docking tunnel between their vessels, using technology that seemed to bend space itself. When the airlock opened, she found herself face to face with beings that took her breath away. The Ashkari were tall and willowy, with skin that shifted between silver and pale blue depending on the light. Their large, expressive eyes held intelligence and kindness that transcended species barriers. They moved with fluid grace, and Maya could sense their emotions as clearly as if they were her own family. The leader introduced himself as Healer Vorth, a being whose very presence radiated calm and safety. As they carefully brought Maya aboard their vessel, she marveled at the ship's interior. The walls appeared to be made of living crystal that pulsed with soft, bioluminescent light. The air itself felt alive with energy, and Maya could sense the harmony between the Ashkari and their technology. Vorth explained that the Ashkari were explorers and healers who had been studying the cosmos for thousands of years. Their civilization was built on the principle of universal compassion, believing that all sentient life was connected in ways that transcended physical boundaries. They had been monitoring the radio signals from human space for decades, fascinated by humanity's rapid technological development and expansion. Your species is young but remarkable, Vorth told Maya as she recovered in their medical bay. We have observed your willingness to help each other, even at great personal cost. This gives us hope that you will mature into wise galactic citizens. The Ashkari crisis. As Maya regained her strength, she learned about the Ashkari's current situation. Their homeworld, Ashkara, was dying. The star that had nurtured their civilization for millennia was entering an unstable phase, sending out dangerous radiation that was slowly poisoning their atmosphere. The Ashkari had the theoretical knowledge to build massive atmospheric processors that could filter out the harmful radiation, but they lacked the practical engineering skills to make their designs work. Their species had evolved along different lines than humanity. Where humans were natural problem solvers and builders, the Ashkari were philosophers and theorists. They could understand the deepest mysteries of the universe, but they struggled with the practical application of their knowledge. They had spent centuries developing perfect theoretical solutions to their crisis, but none of their prototypes had functioned properly. Maya studied their designs with growing excitement. As a deep space explorer, she had extensive training in emergency engineering and life support systems. The techniques she used to keep her ship running in the void of space were exactly what the Ashkari needed to turn their elegant theories into working technology. Your approach is too perfect, Maya explained to Vorth and his team of scientists. You're trying to create a flawless system, but sometimes the best solutions are the messy ones that just work. Let me show you some human engineering principles. Collaboration and breakthrough. Working alongside the Ashkari scientists became the most fulfilling experience of Maya's life. Their vast theoretical knowledge combined with her practical engineering background created solutions that neither species could have achieved alone. The Ashkari had never considered using crude approaches like redundant backup systems and modular design, but Maya's calculations showed these methods would actually make their atmospheric processors more reliable. The breakthrough came when Maya suggested using rotating magnetic field generators to create stable processing chambers. The Ashkari had dismissed magnetic fields as too primitive, but Maya's hybrid design combined their quantum field theory with human industrial methods to create something revolutionary. Together, they built a prototype atmospheric processor that successfully filtered the harmful radiation while actually improving the planet's air quality. The Ashkari were amazed by the elegant simplicity of the final design. Your species thinks differently than we do, Vorth told Maya as they watched their joint creation successfully purify contaminated air samples. We seek perfect understanding before action. You seek practical solutions that work immediately. Both approaches have value, but together they create something greater than either alone. The gift of knowledge. In gratitude for saving their homeworld, the Ashkari shared with Maya the theoretical foundations of their faster-than-light communication technology. They couldn't give her working devices, as humanity wasn't ready for such advanced technology, but they provided the mathematical principles that human scientists could eventually develop. This knowledge would accelerate human space exploration by decades, allowing for real-time communication across vast distances. But more importantly, the Ashkari gave Maya something even more valuable, a new perspective on humanity's place in the universe. Your species has great potential, Vorth explained as they prepared to return Maya to human space. But you must remember that strength comes not from conquest, but from the bonds you build with others. The greatest civilizations in the galaxy are those that lift up other species, not those that dominate them. Return to Earth. When Maya finally returned to Earth, she carried with her more than just advanced technology. She had experienced something that would change her life, and eventually all of human civilization. The Ashkari had saved her life not for gain or advantage, but simply because it was the right thing to do. They had shown her that intelligence and compassion could exist together in the universe. Maya spent months in debriefing sessions with Earth's scientific and military leaders. The faster-than-light communication principles she brought back would revolutionize human space operations, but Maya was more interested in sharing the deeper lessons she had learned. She proposed the creation of what she called the Galactic Friendship Protocol, a revolutionary new approach to human expansion among the stars. Instead of claiming worlds and resources through force, humanity would offer assistance and friendship to other species. Any civilization that helped humanity would have that aid remembered and recorded, and if they ever needed help in return, humanity would provide it regardless of cost or risk. Many leaders were skeptical. They argued that resources should be spent on human expansion and defense, not on repaying debts to aliens who might never need help. But Maya's passion and the clear benefits of the Ashkari technology convinced enough people to make the protocol official policy. Maya established the Department of Galactic Relations and became its first director. She trained a new generation of human diplomats and scientists to think beyond simple trade or conquest. They learned to see other species as potential partners and friends, not just resources or threats. Years passed, and Maya's protocols began to bear fruit. Human exploration fleets following her guidelines made peaceful contact with dozens of species. Some were hostile, but many were curious about these unusual humans who offered friendship before demanding anything in return. Trade relationships flourished, and humanity's reputation as trustworthy partners spread throughout the galaxy. Maya never forgot Healer Vorth and the Ashkari. She maintained regular communication with them, using the quantum principles they had shared, updating them on human progress, and learning about their continued development. The friendship that had begun with a rescue in deep space grew into a bridge between two very different civilizations. As Maya aged, she took satisfaction in seeing young humans embrace her vision of galactic cooperation. Her protege, a brilliant young officer named Commander Jake Sullivan, had risen through the ranks to become one of Earth's most respected fleet commanders. Sullivan understood Maya's philosophy and had implemented it throughout the human fleet. The Galactic Friendship Protocol had recorded hundreds of acts of mutual aid between humanity and other species. Humans had helped the crystalline Zephyrians overcome a plague that threatened their silicon-based biology. They had provided engineering expertise to help the aquatic Nautilians build underwater cities on their ocean world. Each act of kindness was recorded and remembered, building a network of friendship and obligation that spanned the galaxy. Maya often looked up at the stars and wondered what would happen when the first major test of her protocol came. Would humanity really sacrifice its own resources and people to help alien friends? Would other species stand by humanity when the time came? She believed they would, but only time would tell if her faith in the power of compassion was justified. That test was coming sooner than anyone expected. The debt repaid. A growing threat. 25 years had passed since Maya Chen's first contact with the Ashkari, and the galaxy had changed dramatically. The Galactic Friendship Protocol had transformed humanity from an isolated species into the center of a vast network of allied civilizations. Trade routes connected dozens of worlds, and the exchange of knowledge and technology had accelerated development across multiple species. But not everyone welcomed this new age of cooperation. In the distant Magellan sector, a militaristic empire called the Vorthan Hegemony had been expanding aggressively, consuming entire star systems and enslaving or destroying any species that resisted their rule. The Vorthans were a warrior race that viewed compassion as weakness and cooperation as a threat to their dominance. They had watched the growing alliance between humanity and other species with increasing alarm. Commander Jake Sullivan, now Admiral of the Human Deep Space Fleet, stood in the command center of the battleship Unity, studying the latest intelligence reports. At 42, he had inherited Maya's vision of galactic cooperation, but he also understood that some conflicts could only be resolved through strength. The reports painted a grim picture. The Vorthans had already conquered 17 star systems, strip mining worlds, and enslaving populations with ruthless efficiency. Their technology was formidable, their tactics brutal, and their next target was clear: the peaceful Ashkari homeworld of Ashkara. The desperate plea. The message came through the quantum communication channels that Maya had helped establish decades earlier. Healer Vorth, now ancient even by Ashkari standards, appeared as a shimmering hologram in the Unity's communication chamber. His silver skin was dimmer now, showing the effects of age and stress, but his large dark eyes still held the intelligence and compassion that had saved Maya's life so long ago. Admiral Sullivan, Vorth's mental voice carried across the light years, filled with sadness and desperate hope. The debt we spoke of long ago may soon need to be repaid. The Vorthans come for us, and we have no weapons to resist them. Our philosophy of universal compassion has left us defenseless against those who know only conquest. If the bonds between our peoples mean anything, we ask for your help in our darkest hour. Sullivan felt the weight of history on his shoulders. The Ashkari had saved humanity's greatest explorer and shared technology that had revolutionized human civilization. More than that, they had shown humanity a better way to exist among the stars. Now they needed help, and every principle Maya had established demanded that humanity respond. But the military situation was daunting. The Vorthans commanded over 400 warships, including planet-killing dreadnoughts capable of sterilizing entire worlds. The human fleet, even at full strength, numbered barely 150 ships capable of deep space combat. A direct confrontation would be suicide. Sullivan called an emergency session of the Galactic Relations Council, the governing body that had grown out of Maya's original department. Representatives from dozens of allied species gathered in person and through quantum communication links, their faces grave as they considered the implications. The power of friendship. Dr. Maya Chen, now 78 years old but still sharp as a plasma cutter, addressed the assembled delegates from her position as elder advisor to the council. Her voice carried the weight of decades spent building bridges between worlds. Friends and allies, she began, her words translated into dozens of languages and thought patterns simultaneously. 25 years ago, the Ashkari saved my life when they had no obligation to do so. They gave us technology that revolutionized our civilization, but more than that, they showed us a different way to exist among the stars. She gestured to the holographic display that filled the center of the chamber, showing a complex web of trade routes and diplomatic connections spanning hundreds of star systems. Look at what we've built together. The Zephyrian crystal technology that powers our shields, the Nautilin biocomputers that manage our navigation systems, the ferrite metallurgy that makes our ship hulls nearly indestructible. None of this came from conquest or coercion. It came from friendship and mutual aid. The Zephyrian delegate, a tall crystalline being whose body resonated with harmonic frequencies, spoke first. The humans saved our people from the crystal rot plague when no other species would risk contamination. Honor demands we stand with them now. The Nautilin representative, speaking through a water-filled communication tank, agreed. Human engineers gave us the knowledge to reclaim our drowned cities. We swim beside them into whatever depths await. One by one, the allied species pledged their support. The ferrets promised their heavy warships. The ethereal collective offered their advanced sensor networks. The Mechanoid Union contributed their automated defense platforms. What had begun as a desperate plea for help was becoming something unprecedented in galactic history. A united front of dozens of species, all willing to risk everything for their friends. Unprecedented alliance. Admiral Sullivan worked with military strategists from across the alliance to coordinate the massive fleet that was assembling. The logistics alone were staggering. Species with vastly different military doctrines, technologies, and even basic biology had to work together seamlessly. The Zephyrians fought using crystalline ships that could phase in and out of normal space. The Nautilins preferred swarm tactics with thousands of small, fast vessels. The ferrets built massive dreadnoughts designed to absorb incredible punishment while delivering devastating firepower. Somehow, all of these different approaches had to be integrated into a coherent battle plan. The breakthrough came when Maya suggested using the quantum communication networks to create a real-time coordination system. Each ship in the Allied fleet would be connected to every other ship, allowing for instant communication and coordination regardless of distance or species differences. It was a level of military integration that had never been attempted before. As the Allied fleet assembled at the rendezvous point near the Ashkari system, the sight was breathtaking. Over 800 vessels from 37 different species formed the largest peacekeeping force in galactic history. The ships ranged from sleek ethereal scouts to massive mechanoid battle platforms, each contributing their unique capabilities to the whole. The battle for Ashkara. The Vorthan fleet arrived at Ashkara exactly on schedule, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Their 400 warships had never faced serious resistance before. Most species either surrendered immediately or were crushed within hours. The Vorthans expected the peaceful Ashkari to follow the same pattern. Instead, they found themselves facing an armada unlike anything in galactic history. Admiral Sullivan, commanding from the Bridge of the Unity, opened a communication channel to the Vorthan flagship. "This is Admiral Jake Sullivan of the Human Deep Space Fleet, speaking for the Galactic Alliance. You are ordered to withdraw immediately from Ashkari space. These people are under our protection." The Vorthan response was predictable. "Human, you have assembled an impressive collection of prey animals. We will enjoy adding their worlds to our empire after we finish with you." The battle that followed would be remembered as the turning point in galactic civilization. The Vorthans fought with the brutal efficiency that had made them masters of 17 star systems, but they had never faced opponents who fought not for conquest, but for love. The Zephyrian phase ships struck first, materializing inside the Vorthan formation and targeting their command vessels with precision strikes. The Nautolan swarms followed, thousands of small ships overwhelming the Vorthan point defenses through sheer numbers. The Ferrite dreadnoughts anchored the battle line, their massive guns trading shots with Vorthan planet killers. But it was the human ships that provided the coordination that made victory possible. Using the quantum communication network, Sullivan and his staff orchestrated the battle like a symphony, each species playing their part in perfect harmony. When the Zephyrians needed cover, the ferrets provided it. When the Nautolans needed targeting data, the Ethereals supplied it. The Alliance fought as one entity with a single purpose: victory and legacy. The battle raged for 18 hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The Vorthans had superior individual ships and weapons, but they couldn't match the coordinated power of species fighting for their friends. When their flagship finally exploded under concentrated fire from a dozen different weapon types, the remaining Vorthan forces fled into hyperspace. The cost had been high. Over 200 Allied vessels were destroyed or disabled, and thousands of beings from across the galaxy had given their lives to protect the Ashkari. But they had won something more precious than any military victory. They had proven that compassion and cooperation could triumph over conquest and domination. In the aftermath of the battle, as rescue ships worked to save survivors from both sides, Healer Vorth addressed the assembled fleet. His mental voice, broadcast through the quantum network, reached every being who had fought for his people. "Today, you have given us more than our lives," he said, his emotions flowing through the communication link. "You have given us hope that the galaxy can be a place where kindness is stronger than cruelty, where cooperation triumphs over conquest. The debt between our peoples can never be repaid, because what you have done transcends any mere transaction. You have shown that true strength comes not from the power to destroy, but from the courage to protect." Maya Chen, monitoring the battle from Earth, felt tears streaming down her face as she watched the Allied fleet begin rescue operations. Vorthan survivors were being pulled from the wreckage alongside Allied crews, treated with the same care and compassion. Even in victory, the Alliance remembered that every life had value. A new galactic order. The Battle of Ashkara marked the beginning of a new era in galactic civilization. Word of the Alliance's victory spread throughout the galaxy, and dozens of new species petitioned to join the growing confederation. The Vorthan Empire, faced with the reality of unified opposition, agreed to negotiate peace treaties and begin the slow process of transforming from conquerors to contributing members of galactic society. Admiral Sullivan established the Galactic Defense Force, a permanent peacekeeping organization dedicated to protecting any species that embraced the principles of cooperation and mutual aid. The force was composed of volunteers from every member species, serving together in mixed crews that had once seemed impossible. Maya Chen lived to see her dream of galactic cooperation become reality. On her 90th birthday, representatives from over 100 species gathered to honor the woman whose compassion had changed the course of history. But Maya's final words to the assembled delegates reflected the humility that had always guided her. "I was just one person in the right place at the right time," she said. "The real heroes are the Ashkari who chose to save a stranger, and all of you who chose to honor the bonds of friendship, even when it meant risking everything." The galaxy is a better place, not because of any single act of heroism, but because beings of many species chose to care for each other. The legacy of Maya's rescue and the Battle of Ashkara continued to shape galactic civilization for generations. The Galactic Alliance grew to encompass thousands of worlds and hundreds of species, all united by the simple principle that had started with one human's gratitude for an act of kindness. In the end, the greatest weapon in the galaxy wasn't any advanced technology or massive fleet. It was the power of friendship, the strength that came from beings who chose to stand together against the darkness. The Ashkari had shown mercy to a single human, and in return, billions of beings across the galaxy had learned to show mercy to each other. The universe would never be the same.